Well, Jim, a tag team you may have noticed was not on that PWI Tag Team 100 list, or if they were, I forgot where they were. The Hardys.
Oh my God. That's
Right?
they were not on the 100 list of tag teams that wrestle in people's backyards, but where are they wrestling these days? Haven't seen much of them over there in AEW land.
Well, I have an article here that was sent in. This is from your very good friends over at Inside the Ropes. This is written by Alex Hunt. If that is
I don't know,
his
Alex.
real name.
Is he Mike's brother?
Mike Hunt?
Yes.
Mike Hunt and Alex Hunt, the Hunt brothers. Let's see what he has to say here. The headline, Matt Hardy expresses frustrations with AEW booking.
Ouch.
Now, that's a departure from what we're used to from Matt Hardy, right? Because we've had some encounters with him, and it's all been about AEW or AEW talent like the Young Bucks and the booking and creativity of
it's
AEW.
Just it was dreamland over there for a while. It was the place to be, and we were haters for talking about the lack of booking cohesiveness and etc. And now has the worm turned in Matt's mind since they reunited one of the legendary teams of the last 25 years and put them on free TV in a fucking mid-card match in their debut and then jobbed them out to in obscurity. Is that a word? You're saying that it is now, and it's going to be on a t-shirt. So with Matt Hardy now in AEW, no more sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, waterfalls.
He has been one of their great defenders online, typically. And here are some quotes apparently from, I don't know what this is from, an interview or a podcast he did. I mean, I'll say, just creatively, like, just the way we've been utilized, like the last 4 months, it's been very frustrating. We've been very patient, but there has been a lot of frustration with things we've done and kind of how we've been utilized in some ways. So I feel like the natural thing to play off of is, like, channel that frustration and kind of put it into what we're doing. And to those people, if they hate us, we will give them a reason to hate us. We'll keep wrestling.
Wait, where did we go that people hate them? They're not being booked. They probably got sympathy from the people because we went over how that he got handed the Hardy Boys as an attraction that he could have utilized and fucking fumbled it and dropped it and botched them. So I'm not disagreeing with Matt, but how are they going to channel that? Are they going to go out and cut promos? Hi, we're one of the great tag teams of all time, and they still could have got some mileage out of us, even at our age, but unfortunately, Tony's a fucking moron.
Well, there are some fans like me. I mean, you and I have not always agreed on Matt Hardy or the Hardys in general, but right now, I don't think there's much there, and whatever was there was blown by the booking. And whatever was there was blown by the booking.
Well,
because you could have protected them.
Here's the thing that I said from the start, and I wouldn't really disagree. Right now, the best thing that can happen is that people forget what they've done in AEW so they can start fresh, either there or somewhere else, because it's been so bad. But when they first brought Jeff back, I said, okay, they can't do that ladder shit like they did 20 fucking years ago with Edge and Christian, because Edge and Christian can't do it either, because they're 20 years older. But their names, they're recognizable. Jeff was so hot at one point, and after he returned, he, had some sympathy with the people for having gone through the rehab and blah, blah, blah. And Matt, as a single, they gave him brain damage on live television, that company. Maybe that's why he was defending them before, but that's not hyperbole. They factually damaged his brain on live national television in that company. And then when they have a chance to reunite the Hardys, instead of saying, okay, the people are going to be anxious to see them, we got to get the Hardys and the Bucks match on pay-per-view before the people realize what shape everybody's in today, and give them 2 or 3 big pay-per-view matches over the course of a 6 or 12 month period. And your return would have been as much as putting them on free TV against fucking jobbers and goofs, which is what I recall they fucking did. So that's what I'm not saying they're going to go out there and, recreate 2001 TLC or whatever, nor do I want anybody else to either. Because that's what started this whole fucking mess. But they're names that a smart promoter and a manipulative matchmaker could have used to monetize over the short term for the nostalgia factor. Did I just say anything there that is outrageous or wasn't within the realm of possibility?
No, and I'm not a big fan of theirs, and I 100% agree with you. You would think if you had someone who was that level of over with the major company, and they're just coming off major company TV, there would be a better way to protect them as a team. You know, kind of like when you brought in Ricky. Robert Gibson was there first. You know, Matt Hardy was in AEW first. And you still made the Rock and Roll Express reunion work. They could have done the same thing and they didn't.
Yeah, because we neither pushed Robert nor damaged him. We used him and exposed him enough so people would see that he could still go and that he was there. But I knew Ricky would be available eventually, so I didn't want to either damage Robert's credibility nor put him in a single spot and a push that was going to be short term and would have taken away from what we did eventually. Just, you know, if you know you've got something coming up with somebody you can put together with somebody you've already got, don't fucking damage the person you've already got until you get where you want to go.
Well, let me go back to Matt Hardy here. And to those people, if they hate us, we will give them a reason to hate us. You know what I mean? And there's something we can do there to evolve our characters and once again reinvent into something we've never done. Once again, reinvent into something we've never done. That's what they call it. We reinvent into something we've never done.
There's no need to do that. They're
the Hardys. Just be the Hardys.
Yes, they're a couple years away from not doing what they've been doing at all. Because everybody gets older. But you're the fucking Hardys. Don't reinvent shit. Do a retirement tour like Sting and goddamn go out in a blaze of glory instead of a fucking puddle of blood.
No one wanted LOD 2000.
No.
They were the Road Warriors. That was it.
Yes.
You're the Hardys. You can't reinvent yourselves again. Are you going to go to another dimension? I mean, what are you going to do next? But anyway, back to Matt Hardy's quotes here.
He's already been there and back, by the way.
Because there's never been really like an aggressive take by any means necessary, like cheat if you have to, or break the rules if you have to, or be bad Hardy Boys versions of the Hardys. You know, we've done stuff. Is broken. Is this really how he speaks? I can barely read this. We've done stuff. Is broken Matt and Brother Nero. There was a time where he was the Antichrist. And obviously, I've been heel because I was like, you know, more of the heel because he was all historically the more popular of the two of us. You know? This is the worst fucking transcription instead of the roasting there. You could have left out some of these you knows.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not a congressional record.
But I think the two of us together, as in a new role, I think would be very refreshing. I think it's something that we could use to kind of like get back to where we want to be. Let me stop there for a moment. There's more, but again, not take the Hardys off TV, find a way to build them up before they ever came back so you get that. You get as much as you can from what you missed when you reunited them the first time. When Jeff Hardy ran out to save his brother and started dancing on the way to the ring to save his brother. You could redo that to the best of your ability, or, I mean, they want to reinvent themselves. They want another gimmick.
Well,
I mean, I know Jericho kind of gets away with like coming up with a new gimmick for himself every several years, but and I'm not a big fan of a lot of that stuff. He's Chris Jericho, and that's a little different.
Well, besides that, Jericho has more of Tony's ear, apparently, because he's been featured incessantly since the start of this thing, whereas the Hardys have not. But once again, I don't see a need for, they don't need to be heels. Nobody hates them. Actively, as far as I know. And like I said, they probably got some sympathy for him now because, oh, geez, yeah, the Hardys are there. We never see them. Matt is right in that the booking has been fumbled, but Matt is not right in that, oh, we need to reinvent and channel this and do that, because it's not going to get any better with Tony because he's still not going to learn how to book no matter what you're doing. And then, yes, Keith Richards was in the expensive winos because he had a shitload of money and he could do whatever the fuck he wanted.
Well,
But it's not like that. That was a departure for him that was going to replace the Rolling Stones, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, and in that case, actually, Mick Jagger wanted to go solo. And
well, yes,
that didn't necessarily work the greatest. And Keith was like, fuck this. I'm not staying home. I'm going to get together in the village with my drunk friends.
Well, there you go. And when it's time for them to do that, but right now they ought to concentrate on, hey, let's get the most out of the fucking Hardy Boys that people might love to see one more time in these towns in some feature matches, and think in that direction instead of, goddamn, we're going to start from scratch and channel ourselves a different way.
Well, let me go back to this. This may address that. I mean, I just feel like because we are considered one of the most iconic tag teams, one of the greatest tag teams of all time, you know, with all of our achievements and, you know, all the ground we've broken, all the trails we've blazed, I felt like we would be in some sort of circulation where we would come in and we, you know, have some wins here and there. We get some momentum going. Then we go into a big issue with a younger guy. And then, like, we make this younger guy look good, you know? But we haven't really got the opportunity to do that. And that's what I want. Let me stop there again. What do you think of that?
Well, they haven't been there long enough, because remember, we've been saying this for the past 4 years. The way Tony does his thing is he brings a talent in, beats the shit out of them on television, makes sure that people don't have any confidence in them, and then starts giving them wins. That's the way it's been with everybody.
Well, I'll go back to Matt Hardy here. I mean, even you know, there's a time today after our match was over, I went back to the boss and said, hey, we want to talk to you, you know, going forward, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that, or whatever. But I feel like there's a way to get to that where you could still keep us in the mix as someone, a team that is a threat and that is relevant and current. But then you can still help build younger teams as well. And I think that's where we need to be right now. And he is right.
Yeah.
I gotta say, Matt Hardy's not saying anything outrageous or wrong here. Everything he's saying is right.
And the way that, you know, the debut went from mid-card, and then did they have the match with the Bucks finally? I think they did after nobody gave a shit anymore, right? Or did the fact that we're trying to grasp whether they did or not?
I'm not sure. I know they had were they in a multi-team match with them?
I don't know.
Where they were supposed to be, where they were going to get the belts, but then Jeff got arrested, so they didn't get the belts, but they were in the mix with the Bucks when that happened, I think. I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know. The point is, you know, the old saying, Tony could fuck up an anvil. He doesn't know how to take a major star from the recent past and still put them in the mix and keep them featured while minimizing their weaknesses caused by age. He can trot all the legends out there that he, you know, admired in the 80s to, you know, do promos or whatever, or manage to little or any success. But when he gets a name like the Hardys generation, I don't think he understands how to keep them good in the ring. Well, I don't think. I know he'd understand how to keep them good in the ring.
Well, let me go back to this. According to Inside the Ropes, Mr. Hunt, Matt Hardy would later in the podcast clarify his intentions, stating that he is not bitter about how he is being positioned, but is optimistic that making his feelings known publicly will put the Hardys into a more prominent position.
Because apparently he can't get a conversation with Tony Khan.
Yeah, I mean, there's no negativity. Once again, life is too short to harbor negativity or resentment or anything like that. I mean, once again, I feel like it's very, very realistic for anyone to say like, hey, this is my opportunity, and I'm very grateful for, but I would like to get it to this. There has to be some translation issue. Well, they're British. Why would there be a translation issue?
Well, I was about to say, was the translation done in Cambodia somewhere?
Guys, stop using AI to do your transcriptions. And that's just the goal. I mean, that's what life is all about. Setting goals and trying to be better, trying to obtain a better life for yourself, whatever it may be, and whatever that avenue is. And that is what we would like for ourselves here. And that would be our goal. You know, we hope that we would come back, especially because Jeff's in like this amazing spot. And we would just find a way that our utilization was a little more pinpoint, where we have this direction we're going in, and we could tell the story and do what we do. You know, we could make our own music, you know, or whatever.
Make our own kind of music.
But like, that's where we want to get to.
Make our own special smile.
We're putting it out there to try and manifest it. I mean, that really is the motif of this episode.
I don't know what the fuck's going on there, but again, and by the way, when's the last time we heard Jeff Hardy speak on AEW television?
Have we ever heard him speak at AEW?
That's a question. Remember, we heard Matt Weekly when he was supposed to be the fucking evil boss of the job guys that he was trying to cheat on their contracts and all that stuff, but they reunite again. One of the iconic tag teams of our time. Why didn't we have sit-downs with Jeff and Jim Ross talking about his recovery and how he's in a good place now, and how he and his brother finally get the opportunity to pay the fans back for their support through the years when he did some questionable things because of his issues, but now that they're together, I mean, rah-rah positivity, make him a human being, give it some backstory instead of just having them come out and weird face paint, and get people to like them as people again instead of a stupid fucking underneath manager ripping off jobbers teamed with a guy that's had a questionable record because of his substance abuse. Turn all that around and make them people and make them human and give them the opportunity to go on this tour of the AEW cities to pay the fans back by giving them the best of Matt and Jeff Hardy. And instead, we got convoluted wrestling bullshit from the convoluted brain of convoluted Tony Khan. Tony Convoluted.
Antonio Convoluted. No, you know, again, I'm not a big Hardy's fan at this point in time.
But do something positive.
But that's the thing. There are plenty of wrestlers I'm not a big fan of that you can utilize their star power and whatever they have left in terms of star power. Instead, they're out there with Brother Zay. Is that resonating with anyone? No, and that's not even a shot at Isaiah Cassidy. He's been used like shit too. Where's Mark Quinn? There's one of those questions. You can't get an answer. Where's Mark Quinn? Does Warner Brothers Discovery own a piece of AEW? There's certain things. What does Tony think of CM Punk?
We have many questions we can't get answers to.
But that's the point. The Hardys, if you are going to have them, why not have them? If you're going to have them, why not use them? Why sign them and then bury them in meaningless matches on the B shows so that when you have them on the A show, no one cares anymore?
Do you think Tony is so... How can I say this in a kind fashion? Tony is so in the grip of whatever it is that's actually going on in his brain that he thinks that all these shows fit together and make perfect sense to all his most devoted fans, and he believes that everybody should see everything and realize the brilliance of the intricacy of how he's put all this together. And he doesn't realize that the rest of the world sees him as a computer with several wires crossed.
I think that is maybe part of the issue. Because, I mean, look at the tournament. You know, we'll talk about the Dynamite ratings when we do Dynamite on the Experience. But whatever the tournament does for the ratings on Dynamite has no reflection on anything with Rampage. Or not Rampage, Collision. Because they're having the other side of the tournament on Collision. And this week, there's no WWE competition. They're in their regular time slot, I believe. I really want to see what the rating's going to be for this week.
I really want to see, are they going to have some kind of prize and award for the one human being out there in television land that can look at those graphics and the colors and the blue and the gold and the circles and the squares and the graphs? And I guess Tony, when he changed his charts to go horizontal instead of vertical and cleared up his booking, this is what his booking sheets look like. The graphics for that tournament, is anybody going to be able to figure this shit out? What the fuck? It looks like gibberish.
Do you think there were casualties of the switch from vertical to horizontal? People that didn't make the switch and somehow got left off the show?
That's what, the Hardys are still horizontal when they ought to be vertical. If they just go back vertical, re-verticalize themselves, then Tony would use them.
One last thing on this. Couldn't they use this? If the Hardys went out there and got some promo time and somehow didn't ham it up. Jeff doesn't ham it up. Matt does. If Matt could get away from that for a little bit, and like you said here, vent his frustrations at the booking without saying it, at fans like me, you could say that. I don't give a shit. But vent your frustrations. Even let Jeff do that. We've never really had that. Or if it did happen, it was in TNA and no one saw it. But let Jeff vent. Let these guys say this. We're the fucking Hardys. We were doing this shit before the Young Bucks even got in the ring. And let them, that's really the one thing you could do with them right now, because people would believe that they're frustrated, because if you're a fan of theirs, you're frustrated.
Any of those things. As Mama Cornette used to say, let's do something even if it's wrong.